Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 186th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by PWSA's number one fanboy, Jaden.
Howdy.
Howdy. And, of course, the other Paul Anderson's number one fanboy, PTA. We've got Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Yo.
Yo. Ready to talk about some cinema? Some laid-back cinema? Cinema. I feel like this has to be some sort of subgenre of a film, you know?
Two people chatting.
Two people chatting, the movie.
Mm.
There has to be something there.
They made a movie about us every Saturday.
Yeah, honestly. Would that be a film you'd watch of, like, a podcast recording, for example?
No.
Oh, isn't it Tusk? That's a Kevin Smith film about a podcast recording, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, but I think one of the guys, like, the host is, like, crazy. So, I think he tries to, like, put him in a mammoth or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it would have to be, like, where the story is framed around the podcast recording. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Before Sunrise. I'm still always get confused and about to say something. I know Before Midnight's the last one. I figured that out. Promise me. I figured that one out. Sunset and Sunrise, I'm still getting a bit mixed up on. But anyway, it opened in the US January 27th, 1995. It was directed by Richard Linklater. Is that correct, Fitzy?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a romantic drama, not a rom-com. No one wants to dispute that?
Oh. I mean, there's comedic elements. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I personally think that Succession is funnier than this movie ever is, you know.
Well, that's undeniable. But, yeah. Okay. I don't know. You called it a romantic drama. I just wanted to... I don't know. I feel like a rom-com has a certain structure that this film just doesn't have.
Yeah.
So, but then that is also kind of like me trying to fit it into like an archetype as a genre. Anyway, whatever. The synopsis says, a young man and woman meet on a train in Europe and wind up spending one evening together in Vienna. Unfortunately, both know that this will probably be their only night together. Well, I happen to know it's not. Sorry to spoil the fun. But anyway, that is the whole premise of the film. It makes for a very interesting premise. We're all first-time watchers here, I believe. So, Jaden, what did you think of Before Sunrise?
I was scared to watch this film. You know, I've been putting this one off for years. You know,
Really?
I was going into it kind of with the highest of high expectations to love it, and I was really worried it'd fail me, like many other ones have recently. But it didn't. I fell in love with it almost instantly. I think Ethan Hawke is instantly engaging, and the relationship, I think, builds from the first moment and is just, you know, it's just, I don't know, obvious in like the acting alone, like their body language, their eyes, it's conveyed so well. You know, you don't even need the dialogue to tell that they like each other. The setting's fantastic, and just the conversations are fast and just they're never dull to hear them talk. I did really love it, and I'm really happy I did love it.
Excellent. So, hang on. Who built this up for you?
Huh?
How have you heard about this movie over the years of being like, having these high expectations for it?
It's just very, very well-known movie, very, very celebrated movie.
Okay. I had no clue, as you guys. I'd never heard of it before we discussed doing it on the show, and I had no idea how well received it was at all. So I'm glad I didn't have that baggage, but Jaden overcame that baggage anyway. I thought this movie was very good. It's obviously a great script, better performances and on-screen chemistry between the two leads for sure. The two only named characters in the movie, by the way. It's really those two things that sort of complete the whole film on their own, really. It also, you know, managed to make me feel infinitely worse about all the times inevitably in the future I'll consider talking to a stranger and just never do it. You know what I mean? So thanks Before Sunrise for that, making me feel self-conscious. Or, you know, I could maybe glass half full it, take it as a life lesson. But will I? Jaden will. Jaden will take it as a life lesson. He'll do it. Fitzy, what did you think of this film?
Yeah, I relate to Jaden's story. I've been putting this off for years too, kind of. I had seen like a bit of it before, and I can't remember if I stopped it because we were gonna like do it for this eventually or what. But or if I was just like waiting for the right moment. But yeah, I'm glad I finally saw it. I really enjoyed it. It was I guess like what I expected from Linklater in this film, like the philosophical kind of candid dialogue and everything being focused on just the two leads. Their romance is really just infectious, kind of. Like I was definitely like reacting to this film like actively, and their chemistry is like better than like Ethan Hawke's chemistry with Julie Delpy is better than Uma Thurman in Gattaca, who's like his own wife in real life. That was great.
Don't tell him that, but yeah.
And yeah, I like movies in Europe. It's very nice. You just have to hide the McDonald's in the background and make it feel authentic. And then
lots of CGI painting for that.
That's one thing about The Killer. Really leaned into the McDonald's in Europe.
Classic Fincher product placement, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked seeing a relationship develop in full time. I've never seen a movie like this that just basically has no drama and just like commits fully to the interactions of two people. So and just like on the popularity of this film, like I've always thought this film was like super popular, and like that's part of why I've been like anticipating it so highly. But like I don't think it's as popular as I thought it was. Because I asked both my parents, and I'm like, they're like kind of they heard of it vaguely, but not really. So maybe it's just like
my parents had never heard of it. Yeah,
right. So maybe it's just like really big in film circles or whatever. But yeah, I have been anticipating this. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, that is interesting. I completely agree with your second to last point, because I don't know how these conversations, I mean, it is all the script, obviously. I don't know how these conversations are so compelling when they have like, there's zero conflict between the characters. Pretty much. I think that you could maybe sense there's a bit of, the conflict comes a bit later when it's like, are we going to see each other again kind of thing? And then what should we do based on that? But even that's like not traditional conflict. Early on, the first half of the movie, there's like no conflict between these characters at all. It's like all charm, all relatability, I guess. They don't even have like, I love when they talk about their lives and there's no tragic backstories, there's no dark past. I kind of thought, like, to what extent is this movie at some point going to end up saying like, I mean, Ethan Hawke's brother died, right? So I guess there's that. Am I correct about that?
Oh, his grandma.
His grandma died?
Yeah, when he was a child.
Didn't one of them die? Didn't someone have someone who died?
I think the grandmother was the only death mentioned, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my god! I know I'm getting it totally mixed up with something else I watched this week. Sorry. anyway, okay.
I'm
so
sleeping in her.
Anyway, sorry. But no, that like I was kind of half expecting the movie to go in a direction of like, oh, Ethan Hawke's character like then reveals like, I don't know, he's got some tragic backstory or some shit, like terrible home life or something. There's nothing like that. It was pretty ordinary lives they both had and they were sharing, and that was nice. It was nice to not have these characters bogged down in such shit. So I appreciated that. I guess, like for me, the thing that I was curious about coming into this was like, as I was watching it, I felt this film. Partly because of what I just said also and what we have been saying, but like it was going to be different to review, I felt, or it was going to be more challenging to review maybe, but just based purely on like what kind of experience it is, to like break it down, because it is very much just one conversation that's just evolving, and so it's interesting to talk about. But I guess I kind of wanted to try and hone in on like what are specifically the qualities that make this movie special, because it did feel like a special movie. It felt very unique when I was watching it. It had this unique charm where like you guys were reacting to stuff, Fitzy was reacting to stuff. I was mainly smiling, I think, in this movie. I don't know if that was the reaction you had as well. But like right from that first moment, when they sort of catch each other's attention on the train. I love how that's done, where you sort of get like all the shots of the other different passengers as well. And you sort of like, if you don't know who the movie's about, like you sort of don't know who's going to end up getting the focus of it. And then it sort of comes about naturally. And then that whole first interaction they have where they start talking, and it's just like, I'm just smiling the whole time, their chemistry is just there right from the start. So I think like, I'm just trying to like pinpoint exactly like what makes that work so well. Obviously, a huge part of it is the chemistry between Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, as Fitzy already mentioned. But like in the performances, like what makes them so special, is like what I'm trying to think about, is what I'm trying to reflect on. Because for example, does this kind of acting, I've got some interesting trivia about it too, but does this kind of acting have a name? It's like very, I don't know, I would almost describe it as like naturalistic. The whole thing feels, you've got these really long takes. It feels very relatable, like a very real conversation between people. It feels like you're right there with them. It feels very improvised, So, and just the delivery of it all is so natural that's to me stands out as like something that makes this film quite unique. And I think is like a big part of like why the performances really elevate the material and why the whole experience feels so special. I don't know if you guys agree with that, because I think that might be the number one thing about this movie that makes it just work and stand out as being beloved, But did that stand out to you guys, the performances and how they were delivered and the chemistry, all that kind of shit? Jaden?
So before we attack that, can we just circle back to something Liam said before? I let it go, but I need to come back to it. Yes. You said Delpy. Is that correct? Oh, have I been going? Because I always thought it was Deply, because I just thought the P was the other way around. Have I been wrong about that?
Oh, the L is before the P.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I've always just like, I think my brain just automatically put the P before the L to make it Deply.
Sure, I do that with many things. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, sorry.
Now you volunteered to tackle the question, Jaden.
Yeah, like I don't know if I would call the acting naturalistic. Okay. Like it still feels. I think the romance feels removed enough from modern day reality that I don't know if I could call it natural. Maybe if I was watching this in 1995, I could call it natural. But this shit doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, young people don't meet on trains and just hit it off instantly because
they're Snapchatting.
Yeah, you're Snapchatting. You're worried of strange danger and all that stuff. This isn't a modern day story, so to me, like there's a limit to how natural it feels. But I think like that works for me. I think romances are better as fantasies, because I think like I think this whole thing of like I think there's a dangerous perception around romance. I think film perpetrates it a lot, so I don't mind it being a bit more fantastical. What was the other part of your question?
No, that's interesting. I like how you use the word fantasy, because it does. I guess I kind of agree with you. Like, obviously, there's the idyllic setting, like in Vienna and all that kind of stuff. The whole scenario does feel quite fantastical. I agree with that. But I guess I don't know. To me, that's like sort of weighed up against like the pace of the delivery of the conversations, like the pauses, the way they say all the time.
Yeah. Great example.
It's kind of. I guess it is more of a balance there. It's interesting.
Yeah. So I like I think like the dialogue, maybe in the way it's delivered, it feels real. But then I think even like there's limits to how real the dialogue feels, because like I think the modern day person would just clash a lot, and they would separate after a couple of hours rather than spending the entire time with them. Because in this, when they start having differing opinions, they kind of move on and they kind of just okay with it. Like whenever his cynicism comes out, she reacts to it, but then she like they discuss it briefly, but then they move on. I think the modern person would dig a trench and hold their position until there's a great divide, and then just fuck off.
Damn, that's quite pessimistic. Your view of people 30 years later, I guess.
That's what social media does.
True, I disagree with that. Fitzy, where do you weigh in on this?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting presentist perspective that Jane has brought to the table. But no, it's definitely naturalistic for the time. Ethan Hawke feels like it feels like it's a slightly more refined version of how Ethan Hawke would actually talk in real life, in an interview or whatever. So it feels very natural to the performers' personalities, I guess. There is it does feel a little refined. Like their conversations are constantly they're always interesting in some way. There's no gap where you're oh, this is just a boring kind of everyday conversation.
They never say, let's start a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
They really should, though. I guess in that, I think that side of the movie is really strong. I'm actually surprised we sort of there's a bit more debate in that than I sort of expected, but that's it. I like that. I guess to what extent, because I was also thinking about this about halfway through, when I sort of realized about halfway through, I get what this movie's doing now, and I sort of understand this is going to be the movie. And I think before, again, because I'm stupid and never heard this movie before, they even bring up are we ever going to see each other again? I'd kind of put together, okay, this is the whole thing, is that the before sunrise is the deadline on this, right? So it's okay, that's cool, I like that, but to what extent does this movie work? To what extent would it just work the same if it were a book? I think we've already agreed on Delpy and Hawke's on-screen chemistry is fantastic. So okay, there's a point for sure. But outside of that, I was thinking it is so much in the writing as well that it's how much did I enjoy this as a film? How much does the medium of cinema add to it? And then that sort of just made me watch it a bit differently and trying to pick up different things I thought the film did well in other ways. Yeah, Jaden.
Well, I think it depends on the reader because talking about how well would it work as a book. How apparently 50% of the people don't have an internal monologue, or they can't visualize shit. So for those people, I think reading this would be miserable because they would just read conversations and they couldn't imagine anything. So I think it would 100% work as a film, infinitely better for them. For people that are normal and can visualize shit, like you and I and he, I assume, I hope. We haven't actually discussed this, but I hope you can imagine shit. I think it would definitely function as a book, and we can make it as fantastical as we want it, which would particularly benefit me because I'd like to exaggerate this shit to the nth degree.
Sure, you mean in descriptions of the settings and all that kind of shit?
Yeah,
but keep the dialogue the same.
Keep the dialogue the same, but I will let my mind wander into how romantical it is.
Okay, I like that. That's cool. That's interesting. I guess how much does seeing the settings and the places add to the film? You know what I mean? Actually existing in those places, because I must say, one of my points to this was going to be, I really love jumping all the way right to the very end. I love what Richard did at the end with just flashing those still shots of all the places they'd spent the previous night, and just seeing them now in the morning, and they're just there's fucking mundane shit happening in all of them, I thought that was really strong, and then that's something because it had this effect of how you'd return to a place and have this memory associated with it, of a time and place of where you were and what you were doing, and it managed to have that effect on me, but not after going back to a place I'd been as a person 10 years ago, but going back to a place I'd seen on screen fucking 30 minutes ago. You know what I mean? So I thought that was quite a strong thing that you couldn't really do in a book. That was cinema elevating the experience for me. Yeah, so that came to mind. I don't know if how do you feel about this, Fizzy? Is there what cinematically is this film doing?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Because I don't think it's doing much. I mean, you get little things, but I had something where
it is quite a. Would you describe it as a minimalist experience? I guess because I agree it isn't doing much, but
yeah, usually I prefer more maximalist stuff, even in romances. I definitely prefer Eternal Sunshine type film to a Past Lives.
Right, okay.
So that's kind of what did this affect you in Past Lives, or was that kind of enough there in those settings and the cinematography and stuff, because the camera work was pretty stale in that, but just because of like the range of backgrounds that we got, it felt different enough. Where in this, it's like a lot of Vienna is like gothic and just like kind of general Europe shit. So it's not like the image isn't adding, the background images isn't like adding much, I guess. Well,
Sure,
it's adding a lot,
sure.
but it's like there's not like a range that you're getting,
Yeah, I get what you mean. I feel like you could have like what Jane was saying. Like, I feel like you could have like decent, if you how fantastical you want to go. He wants to go all the way, but like, I feel like you could have decent descriptions, and like I'd get this image pretty clearly of this city.
Yeah. So can you just quickly wrap up this kind of thought of, can you guys imagine shit, or are you blank minded? I need to know now.
How can anyone read if you can't imagine shit?
Well, apparently, like their mind is just blank. Like and I don't know. Like the people that don't have an internal monologue, they can't imagine things. Like, have you seen that thing about like trying to imagine an apple, and people just physically cannot imagine an apple? They can't conjure up the image.
But is that like people taking the question too literally? Like they're thinking they can't see an apple like in front of them right now.
I don't know. Right. 50% of people.
And it's not 50. As if it's fucking 50% though.
Yeah, apparently it is.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hang on. You're telling me, no, there's no way you're telling me like half the kids we went to school with like couldn't imagine anything.
Well, that's why they're so fucking dumb. Only 30 to 50% of people have an internal monologue. Is it? How is it possible for them to not have it?
I can't fathom this.
Is that like BuzzFeed or?
No, this is this was all over social media. Like for quite, it comes up every like few months. To be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen this discussion on like Reddit before, for sure. But I don't fully believe in it.
Russell Hurlburt, a psychology professor at the University of Nevada, has claimed that only half the population, it's unknown if it's US or worldwide, perhaps the Yankees are less imaginative, can have conversations with themselves.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Mm.
So hang on, but wait.
Well, the problem is you can't measure it. So like people give their own, it's self-input, so it's hard to get accurate answers for that kind of thing.
Like, what's in it? What is in? How do you define internal monologue? What does that mean? Does it literally mean you can't imagine shit? Like, is that actually what it means?
Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, I've never really delved deep into this conversation. I just always known as funny people can't fucking think.
But like if somebody didn't have an internal monologue, they couldn't like prepare their words, for example, for like a sentence.
Yeah, and that's why so many people just speak through their fucking mouth, and they just they have to talk out loud, and they just need to like do all that shit,
I feel like 50% of people.
Well, 50% don't have an internal monologue, and I think that contributes to the whole can't imagine shit.
But shouldn't visual stuff be different from, audible?
I don't know. I've never thought this much. All right, I'm sorry. I
see what happens when you
one of these people.
Challenge Jaden's perceptions, preconceptions.
Is this just your way of trying to talk out of giving us an answer? Because you haven't said yes or no whether you can imagine things yet.
Zach, me?
You.
I can imagine like an apple. I can think of an elephant.
Yeah. What color is your apple?
Oh, well, it's red, but I was looking at a red book, so maybe I can't imagine things. Yeah.
Mine was red too, just so you know.
No, look, maybe the number's not right, but like whenever that post does come up, there are people in the comments that are on the opposite side with like, what, people can see shit? Also, like,
people
can. So like there are people that exist. I don't know if that number is correct though. So
Jane, can you imagine the movie Before Sunrise instead of this discussion?
I can imagine it perfectly. I can imagine it from the opening shot of the couple arguing, and then the bickering gets louder and louder. And we cut to Julie, and then we cut to Ethan, and then cut back to the couple. They're getting louder and louder, and Julie's finally fed up, and she grabs her bag. She walks down the train, shoves it up there, and she sits across from Ethan. But you can tell there's intent. You're
just remembering. You're not imagining.
But I can see it in my head, I can see her walking down the train car,
Can I just say, I don't think any of us would be able to do this fucking podcast if we couldn't imagine anything. You know what I mean? I remember that shot from this fucking movie that we watched 2 days ago. I mean, to be fair, I forget that shit too.
But then Liam brings up a good point of what's remembering and what's imagining. But then that brings into question to my statement about people can't see shit. So like, but can they remember things? You know?
Yeah.
This is a before midnight type of conversation that will that they'll have.
Well, I guess I'm happy to lean into. I guess like memory is different from like being able to conjure something from nothing, or from an experience you didn't have, I should say.
But what if you just lack the ability to generate any image? You know.
Well, then I don't understand how you can function as a human. To be honest, I'm actually like not even joking. Like, how could you?
Yeah.
You can't conjure any image at all.
I don't know.
Anyway, I've got some trivia.
Maybe they're people having fun in life. Maybe they're the ones that live life on the daily and they actually know how to experience life and enjoy it.
No, that's bullshit. I've got some trivia here related to the acting. Before we're talking about cinematic techniques. This is regarding Linklater had a comment about improvisation in Before Sunrise, which I thought was important to know. It's a compliment when people think that this movie is improvised, but I don't think anyone could ever understand how much work of it is for them. How much work it is for them, Delpy and Hawke. Delpy then also explained, the truth of these movies is that they are tediously rehearsed. Every detail planned, every overlapping line is scripted. It's so precise that it's almost a joke when people think we are acting off the cuff. I had to get that in there because that is a huge shout out. Did you guys believe it? I 100% thought it was like it was an exercise in like improvisational long take sort of acting stuff. That's what I literally thought the movie was until I read this.
Well, as I said earlier, like it does feel a bit refined. Like I think if the two actors tried to have this conversation, they'd, stumble a bit more and it wouldn't be as interesting, I guess. Because every topic they bring up does have a bit of like semi like profundity to it, semi like interest. So
definitely,
it doesn't feel like totally improvised. It doesn't. Yeah, it's too little of a mess for that.
Right, like the writing's too good for it to be something that. Yeah, that is a good point. I do agree with that, but I feel the delivery of it, like we've already talked about, just convinced me basically because it was so good.
Yeah.
On its own.
I can imagine a different film where I'm just trying to get Jane's attention because
he's too busy still researching.
Yeah.
I don't. I've already brought up the script a few times, but I don't know, like in terms of what you've just said, Vizzy, about the profundity.
Profundity. Yeah.
Profundity is how you'd actually like use that. Okay. Like for me, for sure. I don't know if like this film has this effect on other people. Like for sure, I want to know about Jan, but it definitely also made me like reflect on what kind of a person I am with a lot of these like interesting debates it brings up, a lot of these interesting situations and conundrums raised in the conversations. Just a few times I've sort of like, I think surely everyone has this with a film, right? Where a few times I was like, how would I react to this? Or what's my opinion on this? Like sort of worldview debates kind of stuff, I was like, a few different ones that stood out to me. Jane, was there any in particular where you're like, fuck, he's got a point?
Just to put this last thing to bed.
Oh my God.
So apparently this disorder is called aphantasiaism or something like that. And only 1 to 3% of people have it.
Aphantasiaism.
Oh,
that makes sense because like Fantasia is like visions and shit.
Yeah.
Dreams. Yeah.
So 1 to 3% of the population has that, but it's different to the internal monologue one. But I was reading, apparently studies did find that people with that struggle to like keep up in their head compared to other people. So
see, that seems accurate. 1 to 3%.
Yeah,
like it's not 50%.
Yeah.
But then the internal monologue thing is a different one, which I haven't researched yet. But I'll find out for you guys.
Can you research it after the show?
Yeah.
Oh no, we can keep this going.
So, what are you asking about my?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, were there any main like debates or like interesting philosophical things that they were talking about that you felt particularly connected to, or you weighed in on, in your mind?
I really liked all of them, and like whenever it got to that point, I like my thought went to you, where you tend to complain about the philosophy in a lot of things because it's surface level or shallow, but because you have your background in high school philosophy. So like
well studied.
So like whenever they kind of got to that, and you kind of see his cynicism emerging, or like, you know, her kind of personal beliefs and all that. I'm like, oh yeah, I really enjoy this, and I think, you know, there's a great conversations. They're you know, they're deep with, and then, you know, they're profound enough for me, you know. And I'm like, oh no, but Zach would say the shit. But no, yeah, I quite liked all the little profound expressions and exclamations they make.
For sure. There's quite a few that stood out to me. I'm on. You know what? I'll get to the big one, I think, which is like basically the whole ending to me, and that is like, I need to know. Obviously, I need to get your guys' take on this. Could you ever trust somebody so much? And to be fair, sorry, this isn't so much as raised like, but in the conversation itself, but it is like it is like the conflict of what is happening in the scene. Though, could you ever trust somebody so much, or believe in an experience you had with somebody so much, to just say, "I'll meet you back here in exactly 6 months at this very spot," without any contact in between? Because it's very romantic, but like, for me, there's just no way. You know what I mean? Give me your phone number. I'll turn into one of those people that has the whole thing fizzle out that they hate. I also hate that, but, you know, I need something. You know what I mean?
I guess I goes to what Jane was saying about this being set in the 90s at a different time. Yeah, I don't think people would do that today, especially with the 15 different ways to like communicate with people. I mean, yeah, they trusted each other enough. If I found my Julie Delpy, I probably wouldn't do that, but I'd probably, if it did come to that, I'd be maybe okay with it. I don't know.
If she made you do it.
Yeah, well, that goes into like the fantasy part, you know. It's, I feel like would they even do that if you know, if that was like the real situation back then, you know? That's like, that does seem a bit extreme.
It is very extreme. I think it's well rationalized with the whole, like, you know, they don't want to turn into just fucking poor effort. You know what I mean? I get that. But it's a lot to ride on, you know, and you don't know if you'll ever see the person. You know, you don't know what will happen in the next 6 months with each other, you know, it's just a bit.
But maybe like flying overseas used to mean less, you know, pre 9/11, you know?
I guess. Maybe. But like, but they're also basically like sort of making a commitment in the moment to say, I promise I'll be single in 6 months. You know what I mean? It's like, can you really do that? That's almost unfair. Like, can you at least give me your phone number so then I can tell you if I'm not? There's just a bit too much at stake to do that, in my opinion. I don't know if I could do it. What about, could you ever bring yourself to be so romantic, Jaden, and do this?
Well, in the modern day, no, because it's just negligent at that point when communication is so easy. You know?
Right. When you have fucking Instagram or whatever.
Yeah. Back then, I think it is, because, you know, how much is an international phone call going to cost? How long is it going to take to ship a letter? You know, it's like...
A letter?
I can't...
They can just call each other.
Yeah, but how much is an international phone call going to cost you on your fucking landline?
Oh, yeah, $5.
And, you know, you're fucking standing in your basement and, you know, you're fucking hogging 3 hours talking to your French girlfriend and your mom's like, get off, I need to call Sandra, you know. It's like, oh, fuck.
But that versus flying over there.
You know? Yeah, but that's 6 months later once you've, you know, gathered a world experience. And maybe you go back there and say, oh, you know, I love you, but nah.
Did you say that at the end of, like, the repeat night?
Yeah.
Or the start?
Well, that's the other question. Wow. How long would each person plan? Like, how long would they put aside for that next excursion? Would they put aside only one night, or would they put aside more time?
Okay, well, I presume they don't go back in 6 months based on the sequel. I don't know. I presume not. But, so that's going to be interesting. But in it, to answer that question, like, there's no deadline. The deadline here is he needs to get his flight. So, like, if you're coming back specifically for this purpose, then surely you can, like, have like a week or however long you want, Surely. I'm assuming in the complete prediction here that in the next one they coincidentally meet again and there's another deadline because they had no desire to, or they didn't go there to meet each other or anything. You know what I mean? They did become that couple.
Didn't accidentally meet each other again.
I feel like that's the only way it makes sense. Like, you have a deadline.
Maybe they have a successful venture in 6 months' time, and they get married off it, and then before sunset is when they're divorcing, so they're spending one last day together.
That's also I like that. I mean, it's a bummer, but like, but that is, there are other possibilities for sure. I'm actually very curious about that, to be honest. So yeah, no, that one was a big one for me for sure. I couldn't do it. I don't know. Another one. Question number 2. Would knowing someone, I like when they discuss this, knowing every detail about someone, would it irritate you eventually make it better, like deepen the relationship? You know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing I've heard thanks to social media, but apparently a lot of marriages do end because the thing that people fall in love with at first becomes something that becomes annoying, like childlike wonder. While it's initially fun, it just gets annoying, and you just drag it down. And you're trying to fucking communicate with this person, or like this intense competitiveness in games. It becomes it's like oh, that's cute commitment, but then it becomes oh no, he's fucking putting hands through walls. So like getting to know someone intimately, yeah, I think that definitely does lead to disliking them.
Doom.
Yeah.
That is very pessimistic, but
okay, but taking more.
That's why it's best to lie to your spouses. Keep it fresh. Yeah.
Taking more personal perspective though, the fact that I can predict what Zach, around what rating Zach's going to give a film, does that make me, after 7-ish years of knowing him, does that make our relationship better, or does that annoy me? Does that deepen the connection? I don't know. I think it's just a different type of love, Okay. It transforms over time.
Okay, but it hasn't annoyed you yet. Because you're sounding like you're debating will it in the future. Oh, okay.
That part hasn't annoyed you, but like he does annoy you in general, though.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I had a feeling that he'd like Leo, and then he did. So that was kind of like an example of that.
Oh, okay.
The real thing, but yeah.
How does it make you feel that I still have very little idea like what you're going to think about a movie? I find it much harder to read you guys than apparently you guys can read me.
Just dynamic people, I guess. Just profound thinkers and men of mystery, and just all around awesome.
All right, sure. Speak for yourself.
International men of mystery.
Yeah, I will say it is worth pointing out in this little sub debate that Julie Delpy, Celine, I've never actually called her fucking character's name. She says that she thinks it would deepen the relationship, right? This is just a mental exercise for her. She doesn't know. Like, it could just end up pissing her off too. So I'm sort of more inclined to agree that eventually it would just drive everyone mad. It's just more of a matter of when. So, in other words, I'm going to drive Liam mad sooner rather than later if I'm not already.
True. I was watching this video of like a divorce lawyer on YouTube, just talking about marriages in general this week, and he was talking about how how people in usual marriages kind of bicker and how that's not good. You need the marriages that survive, they're like really supportive of their partner and stuff. Like they're their number one ambassador.
That makes sense. So hang on. Wait, was he wasn't giving legal advice? He was giving he was using his insight as a lawyer to provide personal insight into relationships.
Like candid, insight. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Into modern relationships. Yeah.
But what if the partner just does something that you just absolutely cannot support,
Yeah, but you don't the point is that you don't admonish your partner in front of other people. You don't do that kind of thing. Or you don't roll your eyes, and that kind of thing.
But what if she's like, I'm a Liverpool fan, all of a sudden after 20 years of marriage, it's just instant divorce, isn't it?
What'd you say?
Don't worry. Shit joke, we can move on.
I can't wait for who you marry, Jan. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Absolutely.
I'll warn them.
Charmer I am.
I'll warn them for sure. I'll send them this link. All right, okay. If you were the bartender, could you give Ethan Hawke the red wine on a handshake?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Fucking, especially the bottles of wine that they stock at most bars. They're not top shelf, especially in a fucking random bar in Hungary. That shit's worth $4, and he just gave it to them. It's our bottles are worth I don't know, $28, and I would honestly at the end of the night I would still give it to someone if I if I cared a little bit less about my job, just a little bit less.
Okay. You wouldn't even the situation of the person asking you wouldn't even how much would that weigh into it? Because he's trying to make the plea on it's our one night.
But no, I've had quite a few oh no, I know the boss, it's their family, and I'm yeah, fuck it, take it.
Oh, okay, all right. I like your insight as a hospitality expert. That's good. I thought it was okay. So you do change it a little bit for me in that the wine's apparently quite cheap. So I was sort of thinking it must be a bit dear.
Nah, dude, alcohol is a 400% markup. What you pay for it compared to what businesses pay for it. It's niche, man.
Right, but even still, that's still lost profit.
Yeah, $4
potentially. No, but you know what I'm saying? Just you could have sold it to someone else.
Do you think I care enough?
Sure, but if you're the owner of the place,
yeah, I cannot tell you how.
This is a really funny perspective, an owner / business perspective versus the worker's perspective.
Yeah.
Do
you want me to cut this so you still want to get hired?
Yeah. Huh?
I want you to lose out on jobs. Do you want me to cut this so you're still hired?
No, that's up to you.
Places in the future?
Yeah. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to never work hospitality again, so I don't really care.
Well, fuck it. It's staying in then. All right. Fitzy, any thoughts?
Well, it's different from food. But in hospitality, the most waste from food comes from the restaurant and not from the customers not finishing their meal or anything. And it's not exactly like that for wine because they can just sit there and you can store it. But I feel it's a similar principle where if you give a little bit away, it doesn't really matter because as Jane said, it's cheap to buy in bulk and stuff.
Okay.
Or just cheap in general. Yeah.
I like that. I like that you agree with Jane, but you took a very much more in-depth commercial perspective to it. I like that.
Yeah, I was appealing to both of you.
Yeah, well done.
If you see this pregnant woman come into your workplace, and you see her actively trying to steal bananas, and you catch her, but she's like, no, please, my kids, they're desperate, it's they need food, and I've got a third one on the way. Be like, no, my place of work has a very clear policy on theft. You need to put the bananas back. Is that what you're like, or?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even confront them, dude. I would just let them walk. Depending how much they've stolen, I guess.
You see, if Zach was your boss, he'd let you go right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand not confronting them, but then I thought you were going to say then you just call the cops.
On the pregnant woman trying to feed her kids.
Mate, if you just said she's starving in your scenario and she's got another one on the way, it's dude, come on. Have you heard of contraception? Seriously. Seriously. Anyway, you got to make some wiser choices out there, people. You know what I mean? Anyway.
This is actively encouraging child protective service to get on everyone that is struggling.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh shit. Where do we go from here? Bloody Okay. This is okay. I'm curious in your takes on this. The two leads, of course, Julie Delpy, Ethan Hawke. Are they in the same league?
Do you mean as quality or like as like fame? What?
No, attractiveness. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was trying to think. Like, are they a well-matched couple in that respect?
Yep.
I think they're in the same league.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, she's much more fashionable, but and Ethan Hawke's got like really, greasy ass hair, but yeah, they're pretty. They're on the same wavelength.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's important, I feel like, in this kind of movie that you don't have one that's slightly letting down the other. You know what I mean? I feel like the whole movie could honestly, I'm sort of half joking, but like the whole movie might fall apart on that shit. If you're like the whole time you're half thinking, don't know if she'd go for that. You know what I mean? But yeah. Okay. No, that's good. I thought I'm just trying to think of any other scenes, exchanges we want to shout out. I thought like the fake phone conversations were pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my biggest drawback with the film is the kissing, because after seeing a numerous romances where kissing is non-existent, okay, Pride and Prejudice, Past Lives and all that shit, like kissing as a symbol of romance has been lessened to me, to the point of
Pride and Prejudice, don't they?
No, there's no kisses in Pride and Prejudice.
Bullshit. No way. You telling me at the scene at the end when they walk through the field they don't kiss?
I thought the whole point of the movie was that they don't kiss. Not the whole point of the movie, but like I think they made a point of not kissing.
I'm just trying to imagine that scene. There's no way that scene works and they don't kiss, right? I don't actually remember. But like,
I swear there's. Like,
you know the scene I'm talking about, right? Like the one right at the end.
Don't they kiss in Past Lives anyway in the flashback scene? Like the writer's residency thing, which is like
the Korean dude isn't American. The Korean dude isn't there.
Yeah, but her and the American.
I think they kiss in the movie. I think Jane. Hang on. Oh shit! Wait, Jane, you're saying that the two, like the Korean.
Yeah, the Koreans don't.
Yeah. You're not saying there's no kissing in the movie,
sir?
No.
Okay.
This would just blow my mind if there's no kiss in Pride and Prejudice. To be honest with you.
I can't really find a decent fucking source. I don't know how long
it might make me bump the movie up a point if there's actually no kissing in that.
Hold on, I need to deal with this ad for a second and then I'll watch the scene.
Then you're gonna just watch Matthew McFadden and Keira Knightley just kiss, and then we're just gonna like wrap up the show because this whole point's falling apart. Wait, so actually, Jane,
wait, hold on. I need to don't talk to me for a second, because it's an interview, not a scene. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
In the scene, they're kissing here.
Liam, did you like the fake phone conversations?
Yeah, that was all right.
Oh, boo.
Yeah. So sorry. Well, sorry. I'll let you finish.
No, that's all right.
I know. Yeah. So in Pride and Prejudice, in the worldwide release, there's no kissing, but in the US release, there is a kiss. Because they felt like US audiences needed it.
But okay, all right. So, what the fuck happens in that scene then?
They just they embrace each other passionately, and they hug. They hug and they affirm each other, and they say everything they need to.
That's so weird. Yeah, I just can't. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like just like in this film, like I think the first kiss is probably important because that's what you do in romance, and I think if they didn't, they'd probably be weirder than not, like on the Ferris wheel. But then after that, it just kind of feels like a shallow motif of like, oh no, look, they have to kiss again to just to reinforce that they are loving each other. Like, not like you don't need to show us the kisses beyond that, Like by 2, 3, 4, and then fucking 5, like it's like it's like it feels lazy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I get that. I would have been fine if they didn't kiss the whole time. I do, regardless if they kiss in Pride and Prejudice or not. I agree with your overall point that I feel like the weight of a kiss should be significant in a film, and it's often not. And I don't disagree that in this film it could have been heavier. Instead, I guess the conflict was like, are they going to sleep together? Which, by the way, did they actually in the end? Because I feel like that was kind of ambiguous.
No, they don't.
You just think they didn't?
I didn't see it, so...
That's sort of what I felt. It was left a bit ambiguous, personally.
Yeah, it was like a cutaway moment, I guess.
Yeah. I lean towards no, but like... I felt like I was meant to be asking this question, but apparently not.
So
you just assume they didn't?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But like the kissing... I think the kissing's fine because it's not supposed to be a symbolic thing. Like each kiss isn't supposed to signify some deepening of the relationship because it's just like it's a naturalistic movie anyway. So it's just kind of, these people are going to kiss a few times in the night and they show that. And the kissing is adolescent anyway, as Julie Delpy kind of points out to his style of kissing is adolescent. So yeah, it's fine. There was like, it did feature a few times, but that's realistic, I guess. So.
No, that's fair enough. Get orange, Jaden. Your one negative comment on the film.
Yeah, I disagree with Liam though, but it's fine.
Disagree with that? No. Were there any other, before I get to Luke and Andy's reviews, were there any other standout moments we need to talk about that I've passed up on? I love the fake phone conversations. I don't know. I thought they were great because they sort of were like, they were just this funny way of like, they were actually like revealing more to each other, about how they felt. But like in this comedic way, it was good. I 100% called, by the way, when they met the poet dude, and like I promise you, I started writing down. Does the poet just have the same poem and insert a line each time? And then Ethan Hawke said it, and I was like,
"Wow, you're both on the cynical kind of."
I'm right.
You both just hate the world.
Yeah. It's the first thing I thought because like the rest of the poem had like nothing to do with it, and then he just made one line fit in.
Well, you expect him to write a whole poem about milkshakes?
Well, that's what he fucking said he would do. So
no, he said he'd take the word
and write a poem.
Yeah.
No, you use the word in the poem. That's
like how. What's a poet that takes himself seriously writing a poem about milkshakes, man? Like, come on,
mate. I'm not disagreeing with that, but that was his premise. He said, "I'll write a poem about this word right now."
Yeah, and then he got given milkshake. He was probably expecting, give me fucking deformity or some shit. Like, I don't know. something I can romanticize and fucking criticize or some shit. I don't know.
I thought milkshake's a good word.
But he didn't say he'd write a poem about the word. He said he'd use the word in a poem.
Yeah, okay. I'm not saying that he technically didn't, but like, can we agree that like, if you met someone on the street and they told you that, like, the understanding would be that they're going to write a poem from scratch? There's a bit of. No, but oh my god, I can't believe this. I can't believe this right now. He's playing. I don't know. There's a bit of manipulation going on here. I swear to God.
Choose to believe in love, Zach.
Anyway, he was a homeless dude. He's probably dead now. All right.
Jeez.
Luke read in a review for Before Sunrise, sorry. And he said, charming and sweet characters, honestly, and vulnerability was associated positively with my investment and attention. I started the film looking at my phone and computer, ended with eyes glued to the screen. I'm glad they acknowledged that they missed the cow play. I was thinking about that constantly. 8 out of 10. That's so funny. Hey, I totally forgot about it too. I was right there with them.
Oh no, I was thinking about it. I was waiting for them to go to it for ages until it clearly got to the time where like they would have missed it. I was like, oh shit.
That's so funny. I totally forgot. So that was funny. Andy wrote in and said, now that I've already seen the whole trilogy, I appreciated the awareness and subtlety of this first film a lot more than my original viewing, as I probably didn't have a mature enough approach to Richard Linklater's vision back then. Undoubtedly, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy has one of the strongest on-screen connections I've seen. Definitely a movie that has inspired past lives in some ways since we've reviewed it. It's really endearing watching two people lurk around a city and passively chatting together and I really enjoyed the way the camera intriguingly explores Vienna a lot more on this rewatch. I love how I can actively sort of take part in their philosophical discussions and briefly think about in my own head with my own perspective on what they're on about. Exactly. Even when the conversations are simple, it really keeps you profoundly engaged. It feels like a realistic way of capturing love at first sight, the charm of getting to know someone, and ultimately a fleeting moment of attraction. It's a shame that if I did this when I traveled to Europe, it would be considered creepy today. Or probably because of how I look. Come on, man. Jaden agrees with you, though. Dr. Luke will no doubt succeed because his charm is on a whole other level until he starts doing a Ben Mendelsohn impersonation and the girl will really walk away to the cops. Not sure how well this film fits with the sensitive Gen Z crowd, but it doesn't make what generation you were born into. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Wait, I fucked this whole thing up. It's a quote from the film. But it doesn't matter what generation you were born into, right? That's what someone says.
Yeah, I think she says it.
Yeah. Okay. For everyone, I think Before Sunrise is a truly warm, fulfilling, and beautiful masterpiece done in a sweet, minimalistic manner. Amongst all the realism that was going on, the scene where they are lying down under the stars feels really dreamy while watching it at almost 3 a.m. You're like getting in there, aligning at the real time there. 10 out of 10, but my scale is fairly different, so Dr. Luke equally loves it as much as I did, if you want to interpret it that way. But I want this to be in the 10 club, so there you have it. Indeed. It's in Andy's 10 club. Huge.
Yeah, yippee.
Yippee. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy. Okay. Are we good to get to our final verdicts?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's get to our final verdicts for Before Sunrise. Fitzy.
7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. There's no real downsides or anything. Maybe I enjoyed like the middle section the most, and then it kind of teetered out or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it's the film or anything. I think in general I just like some a bit more, oomph to a film. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a 7 out of 10. Yes.
I'm exactly with you. It's a strong 7 for me, for sure. Yeah, I was definitely between a 7 and an 8. I'm gonna go with a 7. Yeah, just because, like, I wouldn't change the film. I wouldn't change it. I promise. But yeah, just in terms of my own taste, like, yeah, I agree with the oomph factor. I agree with it is quite a samey film. You know what I mean? But very enjoyable for what it is, for sure. I think it's. Oh, God damn, I was going to say it's great, but that's like my 8 thing. I don't know. I'll give it a strong 7. I'll put it this way. I could have given it an 8 if Jane didn't derail this podcast like 5 times. So, that's on him.
Wow.
Jane, what are you giving it?
You're giving it a 9.
Nice.
I always gave it an 8 just because, I don't know, you guys were talking about 7. I was like, oh, shit, hold on. Did I actually like it that much? And I was like, an hour and 40 is a bit long for what it is, but, I was like,
right. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Because I think I saw that the next one's only an hour and 20, so that seems much healthier. But yeah, a 9. I really did love this. Really, really did.
Nice.
Perhaps just because I have an imagination.
Clearly. If there's one thing we took away from this show, it's that. Let's get into some news chat. Guys, another year, another Academy Awards 2024. The Oscars are back.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. We'll go through. Well, let's go through some of the main categories and just give any thoughts or predictions we may have. You know what I mean? We don't need to diddy-daddle, but anything that pops up. Acting in a leading role, actor, that is, because acting is, can be either. But the nominees for this are Bradley Cooper in Maestro. Why the fuck did I just say Maestro? I just said Maestro. Coleman Domingo in Rustin, which I have not heard anything about at all. Have you guys heard of this one?
No.
No, not really.
We've got big Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. I throw it to you. Any thoughts or predictions?
I wonder who will win.
You think it's just going to be Cillian?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think the night's going to be Oppenheimer versus other films rather than it being like 5 films duking it out, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably a good shout. I mean, Killing won the Globe, so it's a good sign for him, for sure. You think it's his, Jaden?
Probably. What was the other film that you said before that?
Holdovers?
Hold on, wait. I think, I don't know. Maybe. I know people do love Giamatti, but I think, I don't know. Like, I think even amongst the Academy, I think, like, it is still a popularity contest, so I think the bigger film will win
it. It is actors voting on this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only. So, like that. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he won I don't know. I think Killian wins it. I want to see American Fiction. I love Jeffrey Wright. I just haven't seen it. And my favorite performance here is Paul, personally.
Yeah.
Alas.
He was very good.
Dude, your review about his eye was so spot on. I was like laughing and smiling the whole time every time he got a close up.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That was such a good choice.
He was like the main character, right? Like, the kid was kind of the one that had the arc. I mean, they both had an arc, but
they were equal protagonists in my opinion.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I guess the kid was a new actor though, right? So I don't know. He doesn't get a shout, I guess.
Would have had to be a massive campaign for him.
Yeah, you'd go with Paul over him for sure for an award season. Yeah. Actor in a supporting role: Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. This one's harder, I think.
I would give it to Mark. Straight up.
Personally, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Robbie wins for Oppie though.
I think Robert Downey Jr. wins, and he would be my pick. He's my personal, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. It's between those two, and yes, I pick.
You wouldn't give a shout out to Ryan?
Oh, yeah. One of his best comedic performances, as we all know.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't give him an Oscar for Barbie.
Yeah, and I love you, De Niro, but I'm sorry.
No.
Is Killers going to win anything? I'm like, I know it is.
Might win Best Actress.
True.
Oh
yeah. That's a good shout. We'll get there. Yeah, I know we're lower on it than most. Like, I know it is a well-liked film overall. Like, people do really like it, but like, I still don't see it winning many things here. I really don't.
No, I would say that Best Actress might be the only thing it takes.
Let's get there right now. Best Actress in a Leading Role: Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller, I don't know, for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, I did it again, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
But why did Nyad get nominations? That was like a Netflix film about a swimmer who like swam the ocean or something.
Half documentary as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure. But
this is not me trying to be sexist. This is purely a comment on like an observation. I feel like every year the actress in a leading role category specifically gets like a movie thrown in there that's like not nominated for anything else, because it's like, I don't know if there's just not enough actresses like in leading roles. You know what I mean? Like, this happens every year. I swear to God. Like when Jessica Chastain won for that Tammy Faye movie or whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it happens every now and again. You just throw in.
And was that one last year that caused a lot of controversy? Like was it Andrea Riseborough?
Yeah. It's the one that Fitzy brings up all the time. Yeah. What is it? The bloody. You know, the one where all the actresses campaign together.
Yeah, Leslie,
like the
whatever.
movie didn't get any other noms.
Yeah.
I feel like this category always gets that. So I feel like Nyad's this year's version of that.
Andrea Riseborough, yeah.
Well, No Great Alicia is heartbreaking. So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's an epic fail. I'm just going to say that.
But yeah, I think Lily takes that.
Yep.
I can't.
She probably takes it. But takes that it is stiff competition. Like, Sandra Hüller was really good. Anatomy of a Fall, and Emma Stone is. I mean, she won the Globe. So, I think it'll be close.
True. Yeah. True. So, Lily didn't win the Globe. Interesting. That's noteworthy. Okay. For me, it's Carey Mulligan, personally. I think she's phenomenal. I love Carey Mulligan anyway. Actress in a supporting role. Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple. America Ferrera in Barbie. Jodie Foster in Nyad. There you go again. And Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers.
Well, she won the Globe, which surprised me when they announced that. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think Davine's most likely to win. I don't know why America Ferrera is here. Like this is the only nomination for Barbie that doesn't make sense. Like, Barbie had amazing production design and costume design, and Ryan Gosling was hilarious. Maybe Margot Robbie should have been there, if anyone, but America Ferrera, she...
Actually, Margot over the Nyad, yeah, sure. Yeah. I definitely would take that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hang on. But to be clear, you take Greta Lee over.
Yeah.
Before you put Greta Lee, but then I agree. Then Margot still goes over Nyad. Yeah, no, I haven't seen the movie. That's probably.
But America Ferrera, she didn't do much in Barbie. She
had that one speech.
It's literally that one speech.
Are you going to show that on the clip?
They got her in this.
The entire thing.
100%. Exactly. I love Emily Blunt, but I don't know. I don't really see it.
Yeah, that's between her and Davine, I think.
Probably, yeah. Animated feature film, The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, remember that? Robot Dreams, and Across the Spider-Verse.
I think this is the category I've seen most of them, because I've seen 4 out of 5, which is nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've seen more than me. I haven't seen I don't know what Robot Dreams is, that's all.
I would give it to Boy and the Heron. Although I like Spider-Verse more, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think Boy and the Heron takes it, and I think it should take it.
Into the Spider-Verse did win, I think, right? 20, whenever that was.
I think so.
I think it did win that year.
Yeah.
So there is precedent there. I don't know. I feel like Nimona's a sure bet, personally.
I can't tell if you're taking the piss or not.
I was just joking. Okay. Actually, I don't hate Nimona or anything. I kind of liked it, but yeah. Anyway, there you go. Should we do cinematography? Yeah, let's do cinematography. Edward Lockman for El Conde. I don't know if you mentioned this in the Discord, right, Jad?
I watched that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, I don't know. It just popped up on my Netflix, new and popular page, and one time, and I just watched it.
Okay.
The photography is nice, but it's like I said in the Discord, it's just that it is kind of just your kind of standard minimal black and white shots.
Okay.
It's it's pleasing, but I didn't think there was anything more than that to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Rodrigo Prieto for Killers of the Flower Moon. Matthew Libatic for Maestro. Oppenheimer is, of course, Hoyter coming in. And Poor Things, Robbie Ryan. Could Killers win this one? Speaking of it not winning much?
Maybe. But I feel like Poor Things could also win this.
True. This, yeah. Oh, yeah. God, it's hard to go past Oppenheimer again. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a difficult one, actually.
All right, I'm locking in Oppenheimer as my prediction, though. But yeah, that's tough. If in doubt, go Oppenheimer,
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If I get
Oppenshitter. Costume design. I'm just huge shout out to all the costume designers out there. I'm just going to save some time by not botching your names. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
I think Poor Things should take this, just out of what I've seen. I haven't seen Napoleon, so I don't really know what that's like, but
I mean, it's good period stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I really like Poor Things costumes.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Barbie's got a chance.
Yeah, I hope Barbie wins, but Poor Things would deserve it, I guess.
I think Barbie 100% deserves production design, but that's it.
Not costume and makeup?
Nah.
Oh, this is costume.
You can't really go past it for production design, to be honest. I don't know what else would take that.
Yeah.
Directing. Justine Triet, is that how you say it, Fitzy? For Anatomy of a Fall.
Sure.
It's acceptable. Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. Mr. Nolan for Oppenheimer. Yorgos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, which is the only one I haven't. Oh no, I haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall. I need to see those.
Is Zone of Interest even out in Australia yet?
I think it's showing in like Melbourne or something, maybe. Yeah,
I got a trailer for that as like on like a random YouTube video, and it was fucking awesome. And I have been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I definitely need to see that one for sure.
Sandra Hull is she's in that too. Big year for her.
What else was she in?
Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh, cool. Okay, are they both? I know they're both foreign films. Are they?
Zone of Interest is English, isn't it? UK film anyway.
Oh, sorry. It's from Glazer, but it's set in Nazi Germany, so I guess it's I guess it's still Hollywood. I don't know what it's like subtitled, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like this is Chris's year. He won the Globe. Give him his Oscar, man.
Yeah. I think he would 100% deserves it for Dunkirk over this, but yeah, I'm still he needs it now. Yeah.
You're still a bit dirty on that. Yeah, that's fair enough. Give it to him. Lock it in. Skip over these ones.
Whoa, we're just skipping.
Do you want to do documentary short film, Jaden?
Oh.
Film editing, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
I don't really think Holdovers deserves it.
No, I agree.
Anatomy or Oppenheimer, probably. Poor Things was pretty Poor Things was pretty linear and pretty basic, but yeah, maybe Anatomy of a Fall. The way it kind of, because it's a courtroom drama structured around a relationship, so they kind of cut back and forth between, brief like candid like glimpses of the relationship, and then back to like the courtroom, and the camera work, the editing within the courtroom is kind of interesting too. So I think I'd be fine with that one.
Okay, cool.
But obviously Oppenheimer is like, amazing editing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Has Jennifer got a Academy Award yet?
Don't think so. Original score: American Fiction, Laura Cartman. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Williams. Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson. Oppenheimer, Old Ludwig. And Poor Things, Jerskin Fendrix, yes. They throw John in there just because he's John.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I honestly don't feel too intensely for any of these, to be honest.
I feel like this is the one. Really, I feel like this is the one Oppenheimer most deserves. I think the score is like already iconic and like one of the best things about Oppenheimer, for me at least.
I think it's definitely got a really great score, but when I think about when I think back to what we said in the Killers of the Flower Moon episode, I think the music is something that I did praise intensely.
What's that little country jingle, and
the thumping bass that kind of permeates the film, I think is the words I used. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly think I could give it to Killers over Oppie here.
Wow.
But I think Oppie would win.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a score, I'd listen to independently. It's 100% Oppenheimer. But I think as something that services the film, I think it would be Robbie.
You did like that score in the review, I remember. All right, Best Picture. These were the ones I added. All of them in my watch list I hadn't seen yet. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Any omissions that we feel strongly about here?
Iron Claw is.
Did you expect it though? Because it just had no award buzz at all.
Yeah, no. Honestly, yeah. I think it only came out like towards the latter end of the year. I don't think there was really any push for it at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. It kind of feels like, to me, this year's Babylon in terms of like a film that is quite well rated audience wise, a high quality film for sure, but then just like the Academy just doesn't give a shit about it for whatever reason.
Well, did Babylon come out late? Because Ironclaw definitely was like a later film, but I can't remember about.
Babylon was pretty similar timeline wise, but it still could have, like, it still like Babylon was still nominated for score. Like it still gets in. So
yeah,
I don't know what they're doing there. This is stacked. Some great movies here.
Yeah, Past Lives takes it for me.
Obviously,
after our discussion.
Listen to the Cinema Effect Awards, of course,
yes.
better than this shit anyway. Yeah.
I'm glad it got that nom, despite missing out on so many others.
Yeah, I mean, it also got best like screenplay or whatever. But...
Oh yes, it did. It did get best original screenplay.
I haven't gotten there yet. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. You can give best picture to Oppie, let Chris take his day, but then give best writing to Celine.
Yeah, well, they're not in the same category, so
yeah,
you can give it to both. I think it's Oppenheimer. I think it wins. I think it's got it. But this category does often sometimes. I mean, Everything Everywhere last year, I guess. This category can sometimes have an upset. You know,
Green Book type.
Coda.
Yeah.
Like, what would Coda be this year? Would it be Past Lives? I mean, Past Lives is obviously better than Coda, but I just mean in terms of like the sort of more indie feeling film. I don't know.
American Fiction. Was that nominated for best?
Yeah.
I think that's more Coda vibes to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Fitzy, you gotta lock in your prediction.
I mean, Oppenheimer is the obvious prediction.
Yeah.
But if I had to go with the left field one, I'd say like The Zone of Interest, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that one been? I just literally had never heard of it. Saw it was nommed, added it to watch list. Is it well received? Like, are people?
Really it's really well received. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Nice. Definitely need to watch that. This might be the year where I feel like I've got the most head start on these, because usually like this list comes out and I've seen like half of them, and I need it. Like I'm missing 3, which is better than normal. That's good.
Well, I was surprised that the list was only 56 films long. Like on Letterboxd, like when they put like all the films in one list, it was only 56. I feel like in the past it's been like 80.
Yeah, that's true. A fair bit of overlap here. Let's finish out the last few ones that I think we'd actually like. Visual effects. Wait, so hang on. Have any of you ever seen Godzilla -1?
No.
No.
None of us have seen that yet. Oh, okay. Maybe this would be less interesting than I thought. But The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon.
I could never give it to a Marvel film because I hate the way space looks in Marvel films. You know, I don't like the little swirly galaxies that they have everywhere. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd give it to Mission Impossible because I haven't seen the other ones, but yeah, I expect after I see The Creator and then.
Yeah. Right. We're doing the Creator soon. Spoilers, so we'll get to that. But I don't know. Like people might say I know everyone loves Godzilla -1, so maybe people would say that. But The Creator's not even close for me.
Oh really?
No.
Huh.
Napoleon was kind of impressive in its own way, but because of the ultra violence they do, that looks really good.
Why Mission Impossible for this category though? Because there was a lot of like practical shit in that film.
They painted out the ramp that Tom Cruise leapt off of.
Wow. True.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's a winner here.
They had to paint out Henry Cavill's mustache.
Well, that was for that other movie. That was for Zaddy's movie.
Yeah.
All right. Adapted screenplay. Oh, Oppenheimer's going to win that, right?
Yeah.
Do we even need to bother? Original screenplay. Okay. Anatomy of a Fall. The Holdovers. Maestro. May December and Past Lives.
Yeah, honestly, a stacked category, which is tough for Celine.
Would you give it to? You'd give it to Anatomy, Fitzy? I know Andy would.
No, I wouldn't give it to I mean, I think it has a really good chance because it won both at Cannes and, the Golden Globes, but I would give it to May December for sure.
Oh, okay, cool.
Top-notch screenplay, yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's another one. I didn't add it right to my watch list because it didn't make Best Picture, but I need to check that out for sure. Okay.
Are you upset that the kid from that didn't get nominated at all, Liam?
Oh, Charles Melton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah. and I think some people are talking about him like being snubbed. But this is like it's one of his first like major things after whatever, like Riverdale, whatever it was in previously.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. But I think, if the Oscars were like objective, then yeah, he definitely deserves something. He was like the best. He was like the best performance of the year for me. Like, yeah.
Oh, cool. Great. Okay. Shit, that's awesome. I love Celine's. It's hard. I don't think I'd give her this because, for me, just I'm not like her script's really good, but like for me, when I think of Past Lives, it's all I think of the shots and the editing and the performances. Like I think those standout moments to me are created on screen, not in the script. So it's like, not to say they weren't in the script, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'd probably give it to the Holdovers, but like I am missing two critical ones there.
Did you guys feel bad that the guys from Past Lives didn't get any nominations? Like I thought, like the Korean guy, I reckon he definitely deserved some attention. He was very good.
Yeah, he was very good. I mean, like, would you agree that like if you put anyone up, it's Greta? Well, I mean, she was put up for the Globe, so
yeah, sure.
Like
yeah.
you put Greta up if anyone, but yeah, she was only put up for the. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I actually won't. I'm actually not going to do it. I'm sorry. I was so close to fucking doing it. Oh, I'm stopping myself. I'm sorry. Okay. I was going to go another Golden Globe splitting the categories tangent. Okay.
Bullshit. Was she put in comedy or like fucking thing?
Well, no, she was in drama, but the only reason I was going to say the only reason she got in is because they had more spaces.
You know? Oh, dude, I was going to say fuck if they. Okay.
No, it's the same with Margot. Anyway, that's it. Oscar noms. We'll see how we go. Is it in March? It's usually in like early March, isn't it?
No clue.
A few weeks. We'll see. We'll be here to cover it. Excellent. Let's get into a couple trailers we saw this week. Fitzy watched this trailer for Jake Gyllenhaal and it's Doug Liman, right? The Roadhouse.
Yeah, Roadhouse. Yeah. No, it was pretty awesome actually. It was like a trashy like Florida. No, it might not be set in Florida, but it looks like that. Boxing movie. He has to like defend this kind of outback ranch kind of. I don't know, like no ranch, like an outback like bar kind of thing. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it looks really fun. He's kind of this. He's playing like his usual like he's got his usual Gyllenhaal like charm. He's not like it grisly as he was in like Southpaw, but he's got this like rough side to him, I guess, and he's like fighting Conor McGregor and these people that want to invade the territory or whatever. So it looks fun. Okay. It looks like a fun kind of action, martial arts kind of film. So yeah,
nice. It's coming to Prime. I don't know if this. I don't want to spread like more. I don't want to give fuel to the fire of like more bullshit that happened with The Flash, but there was something going around with this movie where like apparently like Jake like was like thought it was so good that he was like trying to get Amazon to release it theatrically because they aren't going to do that at the moment.
Well, I saw that Doug is boycotting like the film's release because they promised him that it would be a theatrical release, but then they pulled that, so Doug's like boycotting his own film.
There you go. There is something to that then. Yeah. Okay. We'll see. Well, I don't know. I don't really care about that, but if it's a good film, that's great. We'll watch it. Jan, you actually, I just need to like confirm it on air, like to just make this clear. Like you actually are ditching me on the Bad Batch trailer right now.
Yeah, I completely forgot to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dude, you said you know Ventress is in it?
Oh, no.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay. So, all right. Zach's Star Wars minute. Give me 1 minute here. Okay, so the final season of the Bad Batch trailer came out. First of all, Jane, how do you feel about it being the final season?
I'm happy. I'm glad that they know to not over-exist their stay.
Yeah.
I think the show did improve with this next season, but I think they can really cinch it off tightly here.
Yeah, especially with their left season 2. I feel like they've got a lot of dramatic stuff going on right now. They can catapult off of. Yeah, I agree. 3 seasons feels good. It's like Avatar: Last Airbender. It's like that's just perfect, So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, we get it's the Bad Batch. I love the Bad Batch. So you get glimpses of some cool Star Wars nerdy shit, like Wolf. Shout out to Wolf. But of course, the main one was Ventress at the end of the trailer turned up for the first time in a decade in a Star Wars, or more than a decade in a Star Wars thing. So that's pretty damn exciting.
It's the albino chick, right? Oh, not albino. What do you call it?
The pale bald chick.
What's it called when you are really skinny? What's that called?
Anorexic.
Yeah, anorexic. Yeah.
Oh, would you call her anorexic?
Well, she's got all the O's. She's albino, anorexic, alopecia.
she's just a fucking alien. But anyway, how do I say this without? You don't care if I spoil Star Wars books, right, Jaden?
Nah.
Okay, so Ventress is dead at this point in the timeline. She's meant to be.
Oh, she actually? Okay, I just thought
so they cancelled Clone Wars. She sort of she was in Clone Wars just in an episode. She never had a resolute ending, right?
No.
She was just in an episode. They cancelled the show. They wrapped up the show and just in a way that they just never went back to it. You know what I mean? Wrote a book, died in this book. Anyway, that's all before the Bad Batch. This Bad Batch trailer comes out. This is like 2 years ahead of that in the timeline. She pops up in this trailer. So it's like, canon is dead. You know what I mean? But anyway, apparently they've come out and said that we know the book exists and it's fine. We're going to explain it. It's like, okay. I don't know how you can explain it because she had a fucking funeral. But anyway. So.
Ventress came
whatever.
back.
Yeah, somehow Ventress has returned. Mm. Exactly. So I don't know. We'll see how they do it. I'm very curious. At the end of the day, I'm not that fussy about it. It's fine. I'm very happy to have Ventress. I feel like the vast majority of people, like Jaden's a huge fan, didn't even know she died in the book, right? So like for the vast majority of people, like she has no ending and she's still out there, and I think that's going to work great. She deserves more on-screen attention, and I think that it's great she's back on the board. So
I was wondering why I was seeing fan art pop up on the fucking on the Reddit.
You see her with a yellow lightsaber?
No, I didn't say that, but like I saw a drawing and it said the details of my death have been has been greatly exaggerated. That
right, exactly.
And exactly. I was like, oh well, she never died. She just fucked off for a bit. But no, she did die apparently. Okay.
Yeah, Night Sisters. Resurrection, all that sort. I don't know. They can do something. But anyway, I ultimately think it's. We'll see if it ends up being the right move and good. But I think for most fans, it's actually probably the right decision. For their connection with the character,
Going to be a lot of pissed off little boys that Dave Filoni's changing book canon again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Apparently they're not Jaden. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Darth Maul got cut in half, so there you go. You know what I mean? That's always the example to go back to. And Palpatine, obviously. They've done this shit many times. Anyway, my time's up. I think I was longer than a minute. I'm sorry. Let's get to our highlights of the week. If we still want to do them, Jaden, do you want to do one?
Yeah, I rewatched Haunting of Hill House this week. Yeah. We were discussing this at the end of last week's episode when, after the recording, perhaps, when we were putting up, things that Liam and I like, I was like, oh, yeah, I love this. I was like, fuck, I'm going to rewatch it now.
Yeah, and you actually did.
I actually did, yeah. Banged out like 7 episodes in one day, that was a good day. I don't know, like, it is just really, really genuinely fantastic. I don't think I've ever spoken about this on the show because I watched it before the show started. But it is like, I don't know, everything about it is just fantastic, and I think like it's the perfect example of why Mike Flanagan is like should be respected as a modern day horror auteur. The episodes are, they're like the first. They take each episode takes a different perspective of the characters for the first like 6 or 7, and then it kind of muddles it in the end, like the perspective that it is. So that is a really interesting way of communicating the story, and the way that information is revealed and gets retold and recontextualized is really fun. And the characters are just really well defined and written. I think it's a really technically amazing series, and the story is just like modernizing this classic story from the 50s, and in the way that he does is really impressive. Well, the way that the screenwriter does. I can't recall the name now. It's just unfortunate.
Mike writes, doesn't he?
Mike does write, but I had a co-writer. I can't recall.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be Kristen or something like that. Oh yeah.
I was going to say, I thought he wrote his shows.
Rebecca is. Oh, it looks like there's a fair few people that wrote. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's written fantastically. And like, it got to a point where like it's been so long since I watched it that I was actually like re-experiencing things rather than remembering things. So like when like with some of the reveals, particularly later in the season, it was like a genuine shock of learning it anew. And like when one of the things started happening, and I started realizing what was happening, the fact that I realized what was happening instead of remembering it, it made it all so much more effective, and it was really fantastic. Yeah, it's 100% a horror series that I would recommend to everyone because it's not scary. Like it's got its share of horror, but like it's more of a drama that uses horror elements. And it's really fantastic. Yeah.
It's like when you get, you say you want to like re-experience something for the first time, you actually sort of got.
I actually did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. Where did so I assume this is tops, but like where do his other shows sort of fall for you then, like in comparison?
I think like I was thinking about this. I was trying to think, is Midnight Mass better? Because that's the only one that really like, because I haven't seen Midnight Book Club or Fall of Usher.
You haven't seen Bly Manor?
I have seen Bly Manor. That is not as good. It's I don't know. He tries something similar with not the similar classic story, but like with another classic story, and like it's fine, but like it bored me when I watched it for like a few episodes, but then like it kind of came back around in the end. It's still solid, but no, it's nowhere near Midnight Mass or Haunting of Hill House. Yeah, which one tops it? I'm not 100% sure. I've been thinking about it long and hard. I think Midnight Mass might just be like that little bit more different from because it's not a haunted house story, and I think it is a really fantastic experience as well. I don't know, like Hill House I have rated higher though, so
yeah. Okay, cool. Are you going to jump into the ones you haven't seen? Mainly Usher, I assume.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Fall of the House of Usher, but I'm not going to watch the Midnight Book Club. That one just didn't interest me.
I heard it got cancelled too, so like.
Oh, was that meant to be a multi-season thing?
I think so, or am I? I don't trust me.
No, I don't know.
Getting mixed up.
Yeah.
But I thought I heard something like that.
Okay.
But yeah. Excellent, Fitzy. What have you been watching?
I watched Love and Mercy, which is it's a biopic movie about Brian Wilson, who was co-founder, kind of the head of the Beach Boys. It's interesting. It tells. So Paul Dano plays like the younger Brian Wilson, and John Cusack plays the older Brian Wilson. So the story's like heavily, bifurcated, segmented into those two parts. And it's just about, I don't know, like his mental struggles and people like controlling his life and that kind of thing. Paul Giamatti's like this abusive kind of psychologist manager in the second half who kind of just powers over, John Cusack. And the movie's like in that half, it's about Elizabeth Banks trying to like free him from Giamatti's, grip.
Andy's not going to watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a kind of a really weird film because like there's this whole middle section that it doesn't even it doesn't even really touch, and like this two stories are very different. One is him like making like Pet Sounds, which was like the Beach Boys, one of the Beach Boys like popular albums, and like kind of having little issues with like the the rest of the band or whatever. And then the second half is like pretty like disturbing, where he's like controlled by this this guy who's like over drugging him on pills and stuff. And it's a weird film, but it's I don't know, it's cool. It's got like a strong emotional through line, I guess, which makes up for like some of the inherent messiness of telling this like heavily segmented story. But both actors are really great. they give the same kind of, like, Brian Wilson has kind of like a dopey-ish look, and they added like some, like, Paul Dano had like a bit of weight and stuff, and it was just kind of this like they both resembled the figure really well, and it's cool like seeing two totally different looking actors like transpose like the same person. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I feel like, if it would have told either half of the full film, it might have been more coherent, but I'm still happy for what it is, I guess. But yeah, I'd recommend it. It's biopic-y in that it's got like every biopic, I guess, has key moments from people's life, and it kind of over dramatizes them or whatever. But just the structure makes it feel so different, and the way it uses the music is really unique as well. So yeah, I'd recommend it, I guess.
Cool. That whole premise sounds really unique. A unique take.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just quickly say I rewatched Tenet, and I sort of went on a journey yesterday of like cutting out all pretentiousness and just fucking embracing something. You know what I mean? So I did that with Tenet, and because I think in the past, like I've always, obviously we did on the show, always talked about how much I love the film. I think in the past, what's held me back in my brain was like, oh, I have to give it a 9 because I don't fully understand it. Like I just created this weird excuse for myself, right? Because I can't, just because I don't fully understand what's happening in literally every second of it, like means therefore like I have to give it a 9. Yeah, that was dumb. I don't like that. So I gave it 5 stars because it's one of my favorite movies. I just fucking love it. You know what I mean? It also does help that on my 4th watch, I actually now, every single time I get it a little bit more, you know what I mean? Will I ever fully understand it? Probably not. Maybe if I watched it 50 times. Like every time I'm getting there a little bit more. So this time I definitely picked up on a few more little things as I was going. Then there were some things that like I was like trying to piece together the car chase all over again. Like that's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, I understand. Like he puts the tracker in it now, and then it gets picked up. Like it reverses back into. Like I get that, and then like then it sort of falls apart. It's like, all right, whatever. It's freaking awesome watching it anyway. So who gives a shit? But then this time, I finally figured out like how when the building like explodes at the top and then like it explodes at the bottom at the same time, and it fucking does that shit. And in the 3rd act, I never understood that, and I finally understood that this time. It's like, oh, red team and blue team both hit the same building at the same time at exactly 5 minutes when the clock hit halfway through the 10-minute mission time, and they did it exactly the same time to create a distraction. Oh, and that's just I get it. I finally was so proud of myself for that. You know what I mean? Everyone else got it the first time, but
you didn't want to wait for the IMAX re-release.
Oh, I'll go to that too. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
That maybe that time I'll finally get the car chase fully. You know. So yeah, anyway, I love Tenet. It's awesome. Luke, actually, this is interesting. Luke texted me last night after I rated it and said, "Should I watch it tonight?" Which he obviously didn't. No judgment. But like, would Luke like this movie? Because I replied like, "I'd love you to watch it just to see what you think." But it's an interesting film to recommend. It's hard to recommend in a way, you know. I've got no idea how some people are going to react to it. Really,
as long as he goes into understanding it as more of an action rather than high sci-fi. Like some of his other suggestions of like have been with like Sunshine and all that, you know. Right. Like, does he understand the type of movie it is? I think it might factor into his enjoyment of it.
Do you think he'd pick apart the physics otherwise and stuff like that? Yeah,
maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Like and like it also is just a film that, like, in my opinion, basically, like if you just think it's a cool experience the first time, that's great. But like if you really want to get it, like it's sort of like it's going to require rewatches, you know what I mean, as well. So it's sort of I don't know, it's an interesting one to recommend.
Wait, did he? So did he not list an episode of like 100 or 150 or whatever? Or does he know everything about it anyway and still hasn't seen it?
I assume he just forgets. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I was thinking about that episode a lot though when I was watching it, like points I made and like points we talked about it. Like, oh yeah, I remember we said that, and like, yeah. Anyway, well, the building blowing up was one of them. That's why I thought of it. Now comes a segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what are your most anticipated films and TV shows of 2024? Dr. Luke said, looking forward to Deadpool 3. if Invincible Season 2 Part 2 comes out this year, then I'm excited for that. Yeah, so actually, I know you guys were really into Invincible before the break. So what's going on with that? Like, is it on break right now? I guess so.
Yeah, I just thought I fell behind. I didn't even realize it stopped releasing.
Oh, okay. So you just fell behind. Like, are you caught up on whatever's out, Fitzy?
I think so. I might still have an episode left, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha. June Part 2 and Godzilla versus Kong or Cross Kong, whatever. Since there'll be a fun day out with the boys, not sure of anything else. And then he comes in and says, also Joker 2. So yeah, definitely hit on some of the big ones there. Yeah, those are some big ones for sure. We might bring them up again. Andy said, not sure what films I'm anticipating for 2024. Nowadays, I just wait for the lineups from international, here we go, pretentious Andy coming in here, international film festivals like Berlin and Cannes. So that was a bit, sorry, Andy, that was a bit rude. To announce some interesting titles. For now, I'm bloody hoping for Richard Linklater's 2023 Netflix film Hitman to still come out, seeing as you guys are reviewing Before Sunrise. I saw. There's a trailer for this one that's got it's got bloody Glenn Powell in it, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer too.
Yeah, cool. So there you go. That might be one we like and review. Maybe, who knows? Okay. Oh, I was going to say, well, Andy doesn't watch TV, as we know, but for me, there was a bit more in the TV department personally. But what did you guys come up with for either or?
I didn't even look at TV. I forgot that existed. And then in terms of things I put on my watch list, I was going through it at the end of last week's episode. When we're chatting, and I look at this now, and I don't know. Paul Anderson's new film, there's definitely something up there.
Paul Anderson, yeah.
Living up to the other one that I'm probably most excited for, but very weary of, other than your typical Dune, is The Strangers, the new film from The Strangers series, because I love those first two movies, but I'm really scared of what Rennie Harlan is going to do with them. But I'm very excited as well.
So this is a horror franchise, I assume.
Yeah. The first Strangers is 100% something that you should watch. I think everyone should watch The First Strangers. It's really cool. And then the second one is something that you watch if you like kind of neon slashes.
Can't say I do. But that's interesting. That's an interesting pick. There are a handful of big movies coming for sure. I personally wasn't that interested in many of them. Like June Part 2 probably the most. I'm don't get me wrong. I'm excited to go to IMAX in Melbourne for sure. But I can't even say I'm that excited about the movie really. It's going to be great. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's a sure bet at this point. There's not a lot of anticipation for me personally. So movies is hard. I went with even that. I'm not even that excited about this, but I kind of went with A Quiet Place day one because I really like A Quiet Place, and I was I sort of forgot it was happening, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's one for sure I'm going to enjoy. So, well, I hope so. So that was kind of my choice. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Are you guys looking forward to Deadpool 3? It is probably objectively the most anticipated movie, but
I really,
I'm not
really.
No, I haven't seen the second one. So anyway, sorry, Fitzy, if you got anything for film?
Yeah, June Part 2, Drive Away Dolls, which is the new Ethan Coen film.
Oh yeah, his solo act.
And then I see Nosferatu here as well, which is the new Robert Eggers film. I totally forgot about this. Fucking Bill Skarsgård's in that, so that's great. Nicholas Hoult, isn't it? So yeah, this looks really cool actually. Bunch of tall men playing vampires. An Eggers film sounds fun.
Eggers doing vampires sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Zach, are you aware of who Nosferatu is?
No fucking idea.
Okay. Not a feeling.
That sounded like a weird original title or something. What is it?
No, it's one of the first vampire. I think it is the first vampire movie ever made in 1922. I think it is. I'm not sure if it was adapted from something else, but it's a very famous vampire character.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so is this going to be Robert's take on the character?
Yeah.
Well, there's multiple remakes of it as well. There's the popular 80s version, but It was originally, like a 20s film, like German Expressionism, one of the most important kind of founding films. So, yeah.
I guess for TV, I'm not surprised Jaden doesn't shout out Hot D. Of course, of course you shout out to that for me. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Fallout, Jaden.
Oh yes, yeah, true. Good shout. Yeah, forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's a big one for me too. My most anticipated show though is The Acolyte, and I think there's just not much anticipation just because like it's kind of an underground thing right now. You know, we've only had that leaked trailer from Celebration, so and a lot of people and it is because this is the show that's 200 years before the Phantom Menace. So like because of that, like people just don't know what it is. There's been no trailer yet, so like I totally understand. There's just no conversation yet. I'm just a bit ahead of all that shit, with Star Wars. So that's my most anticipated show. I think once people start seeing it and it starts clicking that it's coming for people, like when they start releasing stuff, like I think it's going to shoot up there for people, for sure. Anything Jedi and Sith at their prime, give it to me. So I think people are going to end up digging that. Everyone always wants Sith content. They always say it. So shut up. You're getting it now. Fitz, you reacted to Hot D. Is there anything else coming?
I'm just looking now. I mean, The Boys, is that season 4? I guess it's coming.
Yeah.
Excited for that.
For sure.
Yeah, I can't really see anything else. I don't know. I wish I was more engaged in TV these days, but I'm just into the most popular shit. I'll probably watch that Star Wars thing if it's any good. I guess if it's another Andor type situation. So, I mean, it'll probably be a lot different because it's like less. It's more separated from the stuff that we know. But yeah,
it'll feel a lot different from Andor, like directly compared to Andor. But I feel like it might have a similar effect in terms of it having its own other place. You know what I mean?
It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. Exactly. So that's cool. Okay. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube, Instagram, or Discord comment sections. This week, the specific question we'll be asking you is, what is the best survival film or TV show? Let us know. How you define survival? It's another can of worms. We already opened it when we discussed the question and doing it. So, we'll see what you come up with. We'll probably end up getting really mad with some of you.
Yep.
Probably
as usual.
All right. As usual. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Whoa.
Fitzy. Whoa.
No, that's right.
What's going on?
No.
You're not throwing me off. What are we doing next week?
I
was on a roll.
We're doing a Spanish film, Society of the Snow, which I'll just read the synopsis because I don't usually do that. In 1972, a Uruguayan flight crashes in the remote heart of the Andes, forcing survivors to become each other's best hope. Full stop. And I'll add, maybe each other's worst enemy. Who knows?
Oh.
Yeah.
They should get you to write these.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original film. Foreign language film, but it's very popular at the moment, so don't be dissuaded by that. Don't be discouraged.
Yeah. I was, but yeah.
Don't be.
I heard that and I thought Yellow Jackets, but movie and not English. And then I thought
South American Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. Thought meh. But now we're doing it, so we'll see. Okay. I appreciate Liam and Jaden for joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week, people, and goodbye.